Let's start making our clay bugs. Here I've already started putting some color into my clay. When you get it, it will be white, but we can actually use markers to add the color. So I've been mixing my black marker into the clay by drawing on it, squishing it together, twisting and playing with it to make sure all that color blends and mixes together. It's kind of like mixing Play-Doh or cookie dough. You want it to all be one color, unless you like the marbled look that you might notice as you start mixing it. So pay attention to what the color looks like. Now I know this looks a little bit blue. Every color black has a little bit of a different color in it, so I'm just gonna keep adding black to darken it and get it close to the color that I want. I could also try mixing in some brown at some point to see if that changes my blue and makes it more neutral, since brown is another neutral color I could use. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix this all together until I get the color I want for the body of my bug, which will be a ladybug. Now that I've made my clay as dark as I want, I think this will work out well, I'm going to turn it into the two pieces I need for the body, the head and the body. So the head and body should both be kind of like a sphere, round shape. Oh, and then I also need some for the polka dots on the back of the wings. So I need 3 different sections of clay, and I want them to, again, be kind of a sphere shape. So I'm using my hands to roll out that ball of clay, and then flatten it a little bit so that it can sit on the table. It's nice if it has a flat base so you can display it on a shelf or put it somewhere to show it off. Now on my ladybug, I want to add some stripes across the back. This will kind of peek through under the wings and just add a little bit more texture or realism. Not necessary, but kind of fun. So I'm dragging my little pencil tool here across the clay to create those lines. And then I'm going to be adding the head, but I'm going to keep the head smooth. Now, one thing with this clay is as you leave it sitting still, it starts to dry a little bit and won't connect as easily. So I'm going to rework the head to make it more sticky again. You might notice when you use your hands on the clay, it becomes stickier. So I don't want to do that to the body because the body has designs on it. So I'm going to quick rework the head and then press it on, and it should be a little bit stickier. And I can also do that on the body as well. So we're looking for that sticky feeling on the edge to make sure they really stick together. Then another thing you can do is flip it upside down and blend the head to the body. This is really going to make sure it sticks and stays because you're actually connecting and blending the clay together to make one new piece of clay. Then if that changed the shape of my ladybug, I can go back and finesse the edges, kind of pinch in around the neck to make sure the head still looks separate from the body, and just finalize any of those details. Now that the body is ready, I want to add the wings, and I'm going to need some new white clay to do this, and I'm going to add my red color with my red marker, just like I did with my black marker before. Now remember to keep track of what other colors you might need. I will still need some white for my eyes, so I'm going to set some of that aside and now use the rest of the white for the wings. Now that I have my wings as dark as I can get it, keep in mind that because the clay is white, you will always have a tint of a color. It won't really be as saturated as the marker itself. So I'm okay with this color. I'm going to roll with it. For the wings, I'm going to cut out a triangle from the center. This is where those wings separate and spread open. And now I have this wing shape that looks like a Pac-Man, but it's a wing shape. And I'm going to take it off carefully because I want to keep the shape that it is. I can kind of tweak the edges. If the pieces started to pull or tear, I can just tuck them away, make them nice and neat. Now I'm going to kind of lay this like a blanket over the top of my ladybug. The triangle should be opposite of the head. It's the back of the wing. I'm just going to fold and press it down. Again, my ladybug has probably started to dry on the edge, so I'm really hoping that my wing stays more sticky, and I'm going to use a little bit of force to press it down onto the body to make sure that it stays nice and stuck. I can also press it kind of over on the edge. I don't want to blend it because I want to see the hard edge of where the wing ends, but I do want to press it down. Now I'm going to use some of that black clay. I'm going to really play with it in my hand to get it sticky again, making tiny little spheres for dots. If they're too big, they might look a little silly, so I'm going to make sure they're really tiny because when I press them down, they spread and get bigger. So I'm going to press these small little dots down, let them spread open, kind of put them randomly across the wing. I want to make sure both sides get room for those dots, so spreading them out but also keeping them close together. It's all about that balance and doing it on both sides of the wing. As you finish up, we're going to kind of speed through the last few dots on the wings and adding the eyes. It's nice to add a white dot first for the eyes to make the black pupil kind of pop and be easier to see. So a white dot and then a smaller black dot on top. When I added the antennas, it was a little difficult because the clay had started to dry, so I ended up taking my little pointy stick thing and poking holes where I wanted the antennas to go, and then when I created the actual cylinder antennas, I almost poked them inside the holes, and that gave them a little bit more surface to grab onto. So we can do some problem solving, but that's one thing to do for antennas, is poke a little spot and then stick the antenna inside to help it stick a little better.